What's going on, everyone? It's another edition of the Playback Gaming Podcast, and we're here to talk more nonsense and more shit and, the whole good stuff. And so we got our panel returning today, and we're going to start off today with Four Fingers. How you been, man?
I've been good, bro. Just hanging out, gaming, reading articles about what's been happening lately in the gaming world and otherwise,
What you been gaming on? What you been doing?
Oh, man. I've devolved back to playing Ark.
Went back into the old treacherous ways, huh?
Yeah, man.
They got you pulled back in. What's been happening on there? What's gotten you back into the game?
You know what? Just missed it, honestly. I like playing, doing the boosted servers now instead of playing official. So I don't know, just something to do when you get tired of playing other games. Ark's always a good fallback game for me. So
Right on. Are you excited for the DLC that they have coming up?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I'm waiting. I feel like a lot of people are waiting on that, and that'll kind of revitalize the community again until the next big thing.
Right on. And so we also have returning today, Duke of Deception. How you been? What you been up to, man?
I've been all right. I suffered a facial wound in a freak crab shark accident. Safety kids, always keep those rubber bands on them. You never know when the shit might just get out of hand.
I was about to say, you're going to have to explain the story. What exactly happened?
Look, all I know is that when you take seafood and you try to mix it with continental, with fine French cuisine, it's not as easy as Gordon Ramsay makes it look. That's all I really want to say about that. And legally, that's all I can get into.
So far, the thing that I'm picturing is that you were trying to kill a crab, and the crab pulled the knife on you first.
Look, I killed that crab in self-defense. Any court will hold that up, okay? I was not the aggressor. He was trespassing in my home, and I have a God-given right to defend myself and then to eat my said attacker.
Stand your ground.
Eat my said attacker. I love
it. Absolutely. What have you been playing, man? What you been up to other than getting attacked by crabs?
I've taken a very small hiatus from video games. I've actually been playing a lot more tabletop games, primarily Warhammer 40K, and actually playing some Savage Worlds in a custom module some friends have been running. So it's been really good kind of getting the creative juices flowing again in terms of imagination. If there's a graphic here, I would show it, but we're not at that level yet.
We're too poor for that kind of stuff.
Very much so. But other than that, I'm probably going to get back into gaming. I think there's a couple games after E3 and all that. I've been kind of eyeing. Probably get back into State of Decay 2 now that a big content push just got out for the 4th of July weekend or week, I guess, since it's Wednesday. Been playing some Halo again, just kind of getting back into that because I heard some good news about that, which I think we'll be addressing a little bit later. But for the most part, yeah, a little bit of a step back, I think, from normal time. Maybe get back into Overwatch now that the community's been kind of cleaning up. But that's about it for me.
Right on. And we also have returning today the Lord of Anime Depositions. What's up, Zero? How you been?
Not much, homie. Just been chilling, kind of doing my thing, as usual.
So what does that constitute? How many monsters have you slayed this week?
Oh, God. We don't have a number for that. 200, 300? A lot? Too many?
So what you've been playing? What have you been up to?
Well, I've been playing a lot of Monster Hunter lately. I'm getting ready for the new summer festival. It's supposed to be starting on the 12th, I believe. So I'm excited for that. I've been playing a lot of Warframe lately, though, because this week is TennoCon, which is like their big whole convention kind of thing. And I'm waiting for like content drops and news for what's to come later on in the game and like free stuff and whatnot. So I've been kind of lost in that, and when I'm not playing that, I'm playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, I've
just been nerding out.
Yeah, I saw you share a little bit of a clip that you had the other day, one of those Yu-Gi-Oh games. I was confused as shit. I didn't know what the hell was going on. All I know is that dragons were popping up on the screen and they were attacking. I don't know. It looked like air to me, but I knew something was dying. So I was like, oh my God, they're killing ghosts.
Now, what that video was about is I got really lucky and I got that one card I needed to get the win, and that always feels good. That's the heart of the cards, as they say in the shows, and it was amazing.
I'm pretty sure that Yu-Gi-Oh is a rip off of that there Hearthstone. That's all I'm
Hearthstone.
I'm kidding, of course.
Right on. So, I mean, as far as everything I've been up to, I mean, I've been playing a little bit of that Destiny crack, doing the whole the faction rally and everything. I got my ornament set, so I was good on that. Aside from that, they released actually the Adventures of Captain Spirit. I don't know if anybody keeps up with the what are those games called from Don't Nod? Life is Strange. So it's
Life is strange, man. It is strange.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, that game was pretty interesting to say the least. I think that a lot of the aspects that were going on whenever I was playing through the story, they were very. I kind of anticipated a lot of what the storyline was going to be saying, and I kind of got that direction, and so it was pretty predictable, unlike the other Life is Strange games. But it's supposed to be a prelude to the sequel to the first Life is Strange, whereas the last one was the prequel.
Before the Storm?
Yeah, so it's kind of like all over the place. They're just jumping around the timeline. There's a couple of things in there, like if you go play the game, there's some things that kind of like link it back so that you can kind of see how they associate with. Like the characters are actually from now. They're not in Arcadia Bay, which is the hometown of the Life is Strange first and second game, but they're from there. And then of course I won't spoil anything past that. There's reasons why they left the area and everything. And the more you play into that, the more you'll see with it. So, but yeah, that's what I've been playing.
Right.
Yeah. I haven't picked up State of Decay back up yet. I do believe that I'm hearing that they have a lot of fixes. I don't know if they've already gone through or
a lot of quality of life fixes stabilize a lot of it after launch.
But do we still have the guardrails of death? Because that's probably my biggest deterrent. Like I have a graveyard of cars on guardrails.
I mean, there's still guardrails. They're there to guard the side of the road that you're not supposed to be driving on. But otherwise, I haven't actually had a problem with that. But I'm also not a terrible driver.
See, whatever's in my way, it's just getting ran over, you know?
Yeah, and that's what the guardrails are there for, to protect.
Like it's a zombie apocalypse. If there's something on the other side, they're probably needing to get ran over.
I actually started texting while I drive so that I hit more zombies. It's actually pretty beneficial.
Sounds about right, you know? Absolutely. So we got a slew of topics that we're going to be speaking about today. Pretty much the first one, actually, Duke, I believe that you had a little bit of a prelude going into that Halo. So probably one of the biggest questions that I myself have had for the longest time, and I think that a few podcasts ago I briefly mentioned it about what was going on with this because we still didn't know. I know from time to time I engage in conversations about like what is going on with it because it was never canceled. And I know that there was a lot of people that are like, oh no, it's canceled. It's like, no, they've never said that the Steven Spielberg version of the Halo show was canceled. That they were redrafting, rewriting. And sure enough, 343 Industries the other day, they actually confirmed that they have been greenlit with Showtime. So in 2019, we're going to have 10 episodes. It's going to be produced by Amblin. So Amblin, if you don't know, is Steven Spielberg's production studio. Kind of a little bit counter to Ridley Scott in his production studio. I can't think of the name of it right now, but they did the previous one, the previous Halo series that was on Netflix. So
Forward Unto Dawn.
Forward Unto Dawn. Yes, thank you very much for that. So Ridley Scott did that one, which I mean, you could definitely. Well, he himself, but his production company did, and then so this one, there's actually going to be some people that are going to be involved with it. Mainly, the ones that I'm really excited about is they got the director from Rise of the Planet of the Apes is going to be part of this, and that is one of my favorite New Age trilogies. Yeah, actually, I would probably say it is my favorite New Age trilogies. Love the series and everything, and so it's good to see that they're going to have some strong presence of people who do really good world building. To be able to go in here. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it's supposed to be based around the UNSC and Covenant War. I've heard rumors that it may be around the time of the first Halo, but I've also heard that it may be later on. I know that I've talked to a couple of people that they were like, "Oh, we should do Reach." I'm like, I don't know if I want to revisit Reach right now. We already had a game for that. So, what do y'all think about a series coming for Halo?
I have a pretty big piece, so I can go last if you guys want to get your comments in.
Well, I'm always down for it as long as it's done right. That's my only concern is like I love Halo. I loved Halo for the longest time. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there who love Halo. I just want it to be good. That's my only concern because Forward Unto Dawn was okay. I didn't think it was amazing. I just wish it had been better, and it was really heartbreaking for me because I like Ridley Scott and his work a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I had high hopes for it, but it just didn't do it for me personally.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people share that the sentiments with that, and I thought the same thing. Like, I liked what was shown, but it didn't feel very Halo to me. And I think that was my big takeaway.
It was missing something.
What about you, Warfingers? What do you think?
I never saw the shows on the series on Netflix, so really can't say. But I did read an article about it. I saw that Spielberg was a part of it, so that did get me a little excited. I was like, okay, well maybe this will be something really good then. And the fact that Rupert Wyatt was a part of it, I was like, all right, these are some, big names. So maybe this will be something that turns out to be a good series. But as far as like feeling like it's like a game or they did it correctly, I don't know. I just hope it's a good watch.
Right on. All right, and Duke, so what are your sentiments? I know that you have a lot to say about this subject.
Okay, so Halo's always had a big part, I think, in my console gaming career, just because it was like I liked GoldenEye, and I understand like a lot of the pioneering it did, but I really feel that Halo was one of those games that really brought the first-person shooter genre from PC to the consoles, because you had some other ones, but nothing ever gripped as much as like using the twin joystick, like Halo kind of brought to it. Like the concept of you moved with your left thumb and you look with your right thumb. Like for some reason, if you read reviews back in the day, people think that's weird, and yet that's like the core concept of a lot of gaming nowadays. For a lot of, but primarily, the thing that I see with Halo for a TV series is like if you remember way back in the day, the Halo 3 ODST, We Are ODST trailer. I think it was like they're French or they're Austrian or something. It was just it was such a great visceral trailer of like what it meant to be like a UNSC soldier, not to be Master Chief, but just to be in that universe of fighting aliens that are 9.5 feet tall, that are stronger than you, and that are endless in number. I think for us to have a very successful Halo TV series, we either got to play to a very strong strength of like, this is like a near documentary, kind of like how the Band of Brothers series was, where it shows like all of war, not just like shooting, but like the realities of that conflict, and maybe even from the Master Chief's perspective, or like you got to go out there way far, like sci-fi fantasy type stuff, and just kind of play it like maybe from the political spec, like The Expanse is, or like make it a little bit more campy, kind of like Firefly or Dark Matters, and just like there's a area that they can hit, and it's like, do you want this to be like Starship Troopers, or do you want this to be like Starship Troopers 3, the direct-to-DVD series? So it's like, are they going to have a Master Chief where you see his face? Because like that's a big concern. It's like you're Master Chief, right? So Master Chief should be like you. You just know his name's John. So are you going to get an actor who needs to show his face? Because that's a big killer for a lot of actors. Is if they're not just voice actors, like they need to be seen, right? So do you make that do you break that mythos of the character for your actor, or do you get like a no-name actor who's not going to fight for that just so they can be this pit? Who are you going to be your supporting cast? If you're going to do this right when the first game hits, is it going to be like, are we going to be following the gameplay in like an abridged format? Or are we going to be following before when he's like in cryo, any of his training? It's just, there's a lot of stuff that they can work with. But again, it always comes back to execution. And I guess the general theme of this, are we going to go real close to a serious series? Are we going to go for, or are they just going to go for widest common denominator and just make a random sci-fi show but with Halo themes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you bring up a lot of really good points. I think that would probably be the biggest debacle of it. How would you display that on the screen and everything? Because the way that they did it with the previous one with Forward on the Dawn, we see Mike Coulter, as Locke. Now I can't remember if he was a Spartan just yet. I don't believe that he was, but
it wasn't.
I feel like that. I feel like that if they went with if they have something with Master Chief, I feel like Master Chief has to be a secondary character. He has to be that mythos character in the background. The one that maybe shows up and is there for a split second. Because I think that if you use somebody with Master Chief or like Master Chief, because you don't have a face that's attached to it, and this is probably one of the big reasons why it'd be very, very hard to do a movie like in Hollywood with the Halo franchise if you were having Master Chief as your antagonist. Is, I mean, whenever you're looking at him, he's faceless. When you think of Master Chief, you just think of the suit, the helmet, the voice.
Well, I mean, yeah,
that's pretty much it.
You could Darth Vader. You can get the voice actor for Master Chief and just have him redub his lines for the show, and just have like a big 7-foot body double for him. It's just, but again, it's still, do you make Master Chief the pro tag? And if so, like what story are you going to tell with John? Because like all the first 3 is just simply you're against ridiculous odds, and then you just punch your way through that because you're fucking Master Chief, right? And then so, like, that's great for video gaming because you're interacting with it. If you're just watching a guy go through that with there's very few like small things. Like One Punch Man is a guy who can't be stopped. Superman is a guy who can't be stopped. If you're just watching it for like Halo, it's like you're going to get kind of bored if like, oh yeah, Master Chief's going to win at the end of this. He always does. So it's like if you can move it to a secondary character and make Master Chief not necessarily the Deus Ex Machina, but like the legend that's moving in the backgrounds. Like I think that could be an engaging story. Like you could follow like another Spartan team, because all Spartans are great. Just John was the best of them.
Right.
You could follow like another Spartan team, so then you could have a completely original storyline. Like there's Blue Team that was unaccounted for during the events of the original Halo. There's like, Red Team that was off in somewhere, and then there are all the other Spartans who are dying. Like you could do that. You could do like how 343 went kind of a little bit further on with like the Spartan 3s and the Spartan 4s. Like there's a lot of stuff that you can work with under the banner head that is Halo. Because honestly, their expanded universe books are actually pretty solid reads. There's a lot of good storytelling available. It's just I don't want them to get hung up on we have to have Master Chief, we have to have Sergeant Avery, we have to have Cortana, because if we don't have these things, people are going to lose their goddamn minds. And it's like, well, yeah, they kind of are. But at the same time, if you make it good enough, we can look past that. But again,
I think that's a very good point with that. I think because I mean, when you think of Halo, how do you not think of Halo without having Master Chief? And I think that a lot of that actually has to come with. I mean, personally, I feel like that they should have left Master Chief dead when it came to 4. I don't think that there was a reason to revisit him. And if you were going to bring him back, I don't think that 4 was that point. I think that that's when they should have done the you're re-upping your franchise and you're bringing in a new face and everything. Just because I felt like that they left it off at a very good spot for him, and that it's very hard to do these days. Is where you have a character whenever you're going to be done telling their story, but you're going to continue the genre of the story. It's very hard to see somebody successfully close a character arc the way that they did, the way that Bungie did, and I don't know. It's I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see exactly, how they pan this out. Any last thoughts on it?
I just hope it doesn't suck. I mean, you have the potential to make a literally a goose that is shitting money right here if you don't mess it up. That's all that matters.
Golden eggs everywhere.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so moving on to the next subject and everything. So it doesn't seem like that the crossplay debacle is going to end anytime soon. I imagine that everybody's heard Todd Howard recently was out talking about Sony was the reason why 76 is not going to have cross-platform playability with one another because they're holding it up, so on and so forth. Um, and before that, you had Nintendo of all the companies was actually making a dual advertisement with Microsoft over Minecraft. And if you saw the Twitter feeds, they were like, hey Microsoft, hey Xbox, you want to go build something? And they're like, yeah, sure, Nintendo, let's go build something. Hey Sony, what do you want to do? Oh yeah, that's right, you can't play with us, kind of deal, So a lot of interesting things have been going on, and I know that we talked about this a couple weeks back and everything. Has anybody's thoughts on the whole crossplay debacle changed any?
No.
I mean,
if anything, go ahead.
No, Zero, it's all you. You're first.
No, I was just saying, if anything, it just all this has just reinforced what I said last time. It's the eventual future is crossplay. It's gaming moving forward, and it's just Sony being hard-headed and not wanting to give up any kind of position and denying gamers that. And it's just it's such a pig-headed and hard-headed thing to see, and it's so annoying. I just don't like it at all.
Yeah.
And I agree with Zero's analysis of it, but to play devil's advocate, if you are, because PlayStation, and I'm not a Sony fanboy by any means, PlayStation is the higher market shared console system. So truthfully, if you have your boot on the throat of your competition, there's no reason for you in the cutthroat world of capitalism are going to want to assist your competitors. Now, we as gamers don't see it that way because I just want to be like, we would literally end the console wars if we had crossplay because it'd just be like, cool, what are you buying? Well, I bought an Xbox because it's cheaper. Awesome. I'll go home and we're just going to play a game. That's it. That's the utopia of gaming. And just like, cool, I just buy stuff and we go home and we play games and you have all your friends. But like with this, I can understand why Sony doesn't want to do that because you're giving away one of your major competitive edges that they've been owning for these years, which is their exclusive lineup. And you're giving it to, Microsoft and Nintendo, who have other things that they're a little bit better at than you. But you win in this one department, and that's what's giving you your market share. So I can understand why they're doing it. I don't agree with it because, again, I'm the consumer in this area. I'm not the facilitator. So, But yeah, I would love for crossplay because I have a lot of friends that are only on PlayStation. And I would love to be able to play with them. I bought a PS4. I rarely, if ever, use it.
Right on. What about you, Warfinger? So who would win in a battle between the Megas on PlayStation versus the Megas on Xbox? Who would win? You tell me.
Xbox.
Why is that?
Only because I'm a Microsoft fan, Xbox fan since day one. I've never owned a PlayStation, never will own a PlayStation. Yeah, but I think the cross-platform gaming idea is super awesome. I think it'd be great for me to be able to, for example, like Minecraft, the character that I created on my Xbox account, I can take that on the road with me on my Switch, right? That'd be awesome. I just load into it on the Switch and boom, mobile gaming basically.
Right on.
Yes.
I have a very so of course I'm very pro for the crossplay. I would love to see that happen. And in the reality of the scope of it, there's a couple of things that actually over the last couple of weeks I kind of like thought about it and everything. And there's a couple of things that I feel like that have to be pointed out. One, I mean, it's cool that Todd Howard, comes out. He's a very prominent individual in game making. If you love Fallout, if you love Elder Scrolls, you love somebody like Todd Howard. And it's cool that, somebody of that prominence would speak up about this because, pretty much we've had only like the influencers say, hey, give us our shit, with the whole Fortnite debacle. So it's cool to see somebody of prominence say something about it. But I had to kind of like take a step back and also put a couple of things into perspective. Out of all the people, or out of all the publishers, I just kind of feel that it's odd first coming from Bethesda, just because they're not known for having multiplayer games. Yes, they do have some, like Elder Scrolls Online and the card game that they have with Elder Scrolls. So it's kind of odd that a single player first studio would be the first one to really speak up in this kind of manner. I know that way back when, we kind of talked last time about Defiance, the studio that made Defiance Tryon, they said something back in the previous days, but, coming into modern times, it's a little bit different. And I still sit on the aspect, I don't think that until somebody that is of a bigger stature speaks up and says something, nothing's really going to resonate with Sony and want to convince them to actually act upon it. Now, one thing that I think that also has to be taken into consideration is we see a lot of these these companies that are starting to speak up about it. Now, here's my question for Todd Howard, because he wanted to speak on the aspect of the crossplay. Is the Xbox version going to be compatible crossplay with the PC version? And if not, why say anything in the first place?
I personally think it's kind of a smokescreen anyways, just because it's really easy to kind of jump onto these bandwagons of, oh, yeah, these guys are totally just like, they're totally sucking at this thing right now that we were not really working on, but it might be able to pull some of this extra hate that we might be catching for Fallout 76 from hardcore fans who started at Fallout 3, and they think that that's the only way to make these games, and it's kind of crazy. So I feel like there's maybe a secondary reason why this specific call out was made, but it doesn't detract from the argument that was being made, which is, why don't we have crossplay in this time and age? Because like our systems can talk to each other. The fact that it popped up on accident before and then they re-disabled it for Rocket League shows that it's available. It's just it's arbitrary, and I hate arbitrary rule changes for no reason.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I also think that needs to happen is, if this is something that if Microsoft really wants this to happen, if Nintendo really wants this to happen, they can't stop at just Fortnite and Rocket League and Minecraft. They need to be pushing this to everything that is multi-platform going forward in the future. I'm talking Madden, if Madden's on there, the FIFA, the NBA 2Ks, anything that's cross-platform and it has multiplayer, you can't skip past it. Otherwise, again, just like what you said, it's a smokescreen. It's just calling things out, but you're really bluffing on the things that you're calling out.
I heard a slight genre trend there with a lot of those call-outs on types of games. Just wondering. Shooters, you're going to get destroyed against keyboard and mouse most of the time. It's just like, what games do you really want to have crossplay? I think just like something where it's not like direct pinpoint input is required, but basically everything else should be. Like, I love playing State of Decay 2 with buddies that are on PC and Xbox, because it was like, hey, that's great. You don't own an Xbox. We can play this. It's like those small movements or those small moments of just gameplay and community is what makes me like stay with the Xbox crowd at this time, because I have more friends that are on Xbox Live than I do any other service.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's not to, take away from any kind of genre and everything. I think that, until we start getting the bigger titles that are selling, through the holidays and everything, that actually push the consoles, like the ones mentioned and everything, until they're starting to push towards the cosplay. We're just not going to see anything. And me personally, I just don't see EA or Activision wanting to give up the money that they can make if they can get you to buy the game on not just one but two consoles. Yeah. So I just don't know. And what's up?
I was going to ask, do you think that maybe Todd Howard's kind of, let's say, rocky history with Sony has something to do with this? Because it wasn't too terribly long ago. Well, yeah, was it too terribly long ago where Sony had like a stranglehold on the freedom for mods, and he was annoyed by that because I mean, it kind of holds back his game and what people can do with it.
Yeah, Skyrim would not have lasted nowhere near as long if it didn't have open mod support like it does on PC.
Oh, absolutely. Right. No, and I think that you're onto something with that. I mean, Microsoft is Todd Howard's buddy. Like, I mean, I'm going to call it is what it is because, you know, I mean, he showed up on the stage this past E3. You know, we know that historically it seems like that the Xbox versions have always gotten what I would call a better version than what PlayStation has. And this goes back into PS3 when the PS3 was having issues with Oblivion just saving games. You know, games were getting dropped and stuff like that. And the 360 wasn't having any sort of issues. And that persisted when it went into Fallout as well as, you know, Skyrim. So, you know, just historically speaking, I mean, they haven't had such a good relationship as Bethesda has had with Microsoft and Xbox and everything. So, I mean, I think that, you know, I would care to suggest that may have had a little bit to do with it. But I think that also just speaking up whenever the wave is hot or the wave is high so that you could surf, you know, to your game's release, you know, while your name is in the attention span of the headlines, you know. So I think that has much more to do with it than, you know, the other thing. But, you know, the game that kicked it off was this big old debacle was Fortnite. And I believe, Duke, you had something that you wanted to talk about with Fortnite?
Oh, just because we spoke about emerging gameplay, and it's kind of like it's one of the things that you can't really market towards or build a game around besides just allowing emerging gameplay, which is like an easy example for Halo was the zombies concept was back in the original Halo or Halo 2. You had the zombie concept where, you know, one guy got sword, everyone else had shotguns or ARs and pistols, no shields. You kill the guy, you turn into a zombie, everyone turned into zombies, they kill each other. And that became a game type in the future, emergent gameplay, like how we play the game works together, right? So one of the big events for Fortnite, I don't know if you know what Fortnite is, everyone knows what Fortnite is. They have this big rocket launch. It's been part of like this season buildup, right? So one time only in live, they're going to have the rocket that's been sitting on the map blast off. And so a lot of people like on the social media, like Reddit and Facebook groups and whatnot, all decided, you know, hey, we get into the game. There's going to be like a ceasefire. People are going to build a ramp. We're going to watch it together to be a part of this big event, right? So currently the all-time, I think, let me pull up the name. So currently, like on one of the playthroughs, one guy decided that he's not going to do that. And so basically, as everyone set up to kind of watch this, they do, and this guy now has the most kills. Pulling up his name. Elemental Ray had the opportunity. I think killed 48 people in one go. So he's now the all-time high kill stat on any of the stat blockers because he technically did it correctly. Like there was no agreement outside of the gentleman's agreement that I believe everyone would have of like, hey, we don't shoot each other while we're watching this. But yeah. So for things like that, do you believe that what this person did when everyone agreed to do this one event together tacitly and he took advantage of that, did what he do, was that incorrect or was that correct? Is that defendable, not defendable, do you think?
What would you do? What would you do, Warfingers, given that situation?
I would have been among the dead. Yeah.
So you would have been one of those that had fallen?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know. I think it's just a scumbag thing to do. You must have been a kid or a young adult and just like, well, I'm going to take advantage of this. And that's what he did. And now he holds the record for it. But, you know, it was a low thing to do. Very low brow.
I don't know. Well, I guess I'll kind of like go half and half on this. Like, I mean, it's cool to see that they had an event that was going on. I'd love to see things, and I think that Zero was actually talking about this earlier. It's very rare that you see a game that will actually do things actively in the game to persist and kind of keep the audience engaged. Really, MMOs back in the day used to do this all the time.
Mhm.
You know, and it's kind of since gone away from that. Yeah, some of them will host events, but you look at things like Destiny where these are repeating events and everything. This is something that's static that is going to rotate back into the cycle of, you know, what you're doing and everything. So I don't count things like that. That's not the same as what is going on here, because this is something that this could be a once in a, like you were saying, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to see something like this that the devs have put together for you to be able to do and be a part of. This is something that a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, people who saw it, they're going to have something to speak about. Oh, were you there when this happened? And they're going to say, yeah, I was there for that. And now there's going to be, oh yeah, I was there and then I got murdered, you know, because a guy took advantage of the situation and everything. You know, given the fact that it's a game, there's going to be that trollish individual that takes advantage of the situation. No matter what you do, what kind of game you play, there are those individuals that will be out there. I don't know if I think that he's in the wrong, but at the same time, I don't know if I would. I don't think that I would give him something as a title of the record given the situation. I think that there's something a little bit different than, you know, of passively killing individuals rather than competitively killing individuals. And I think that if he's going to be marked with that, he needs to be marked with an asterisk. And that's because these were likely passive kills, the majority of them at least.
Oh, they were
one or two.
because he destroyed the foundation of the tower that they were kind of on, and so they all fell to their deaths.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah, so, yeah, go ahead.
And the counterpoint, Diz, I've played GTA 4 or 5 with you, so I know for a fact that you would have killed everyone on that tower, like no questions asked. You probably wouldn't have.
No, I would have. I'm not going to deny that. That's the kind of individual I am. I will take advantage of a situation. You know, I've been in a couple of ARC wars where I found good situations and we had a better outcome because I took advantage of that.
You also blew up my car 7 times in a row for no other purpose than it was a slightly annoying. I may or may not be carrying a grudge about that. I don't know. I talked to my therapist when we talk about my shark/crab attack. Anyways, I kind of agree. Like, hey, you know, fair is fair. There was no agreement that, hey, no one's going to do anything. In theory, you could always go with the fact that everyone, because it was a solo queue, everyone was teaming, which is the term when you tacitly agree with someone to like work with them in solo games so that you have a higher chance of winning because you're working as a team. So in theory, like there's a lot of arguments you can make about the ethics of it, but I guess it's kind of it's against the spirit again of the, hey, we're going to do this one event together. Let's not shoot each other until it's over. Okay, and then you facilitate their demise as it's kind of occurring because it was still going on when he killed them all.
Yeah. I think that one thing that probably could have helped avert, some of that, crises going on as well is I get that they did it. They launched it across all of the servers at a given time and everything, which is cool. Pardon me. I feel like that they maybe should have done it maybe a couple of times through maybe over the course of a couple of hours. You didn't have to do it all day, but give it a couple of hours so that for the fact that those individuals, now that's been taken away from them, their experience is now a little bit more of a hatred of this event because of what happened to them rather than somebody who actually got to see it. So it could have been something that maybe they could have tweaked a little bit of it to allow players to actually be part of what that environment is. Because I could look back at things like when I played Ultima. I have the server that I played on, Pacific. I burnt a town to the ground, and that was my character. I was with one of the GMs that kind of ran the game, and when they ran their events and everything, we made a decision that, hey, we're going to run this event, and if your guys have the winning side, do what you want. So we burned a town to the ground. So whenever you log back into that town's burnt to the ground. That kind of experience is also different from some of those other servers. So it's cool to see events like these. And I think that I might not be the biggest fan of Fortnite. I really don't have a dog in a fight because I just don't like that style of game. But what they're doing, and I think that Zero, if you want to talk about what you were pointing out earlier, I think that what they're doing is fantastic. And I love seeing developers do things like this.
Right. Oh, excuse me.
I don't know if you wanted to bring up what you were sharing earlier with the ever growing, was it an ever growing crack?
Oh yeah, you're talking about me.
Mhm.
Oh, excuse me. Ugh, sorry, I keep coughing.
The show's
Yeah, no,
so boring. Not even the hosts are paying attention.
No, I'm playing
Yeah,
Warframe all at the same time, so I'm just busy. But no. The whole crack in the sky thing, I think that's a cool thing because it's something that keeps your audience interested, and I'll say audience because I mean most people are just gonna sit there and watch it. It's a crack in the sky, but you can sit there and watch it, and it keeps getting wider and wider, and it's a cool live thing that's happening. It feels organic in the game, and that's awesome, and that's something that a lot of games don't do nowadays. And it's something like it's not asking much of the developer. Like Epic, I mean, it probably doesn't take a whole lot of them for to make a sky a little bigger and a crack in the sky a little bigger every now and then. But it's something that's cool and it's simple and it's easy and it builds hype. And like I don't play Fortnite, at least not the PvP stuff. I don't care for Battle Royale. I never cared for it, but I'm excited about it. I just want to see what the hell happens.
Yeah, I think I just saw something about if you in Tomato Town, the big tomato-headed guy, Uncle Pete, just disappeared. Like from
did he?
The top of the building or like little pedestal that he rotates on. So I like stuff like that where it's like, oh, hey, stuff's happening. Okay, I guess I'm going to go back to murdering all these other 15-year-olds or 12-year-olds or 47-year-olds. I don't know what the age demographic that they shoot for is.
Ain't that the truth? And it's actually pretty cool that how simplistic the game is, and that's how they're able to add in things to give you kind of like, I mean, people are creating myths and theories and all this, sort of jazz for the game and everything, which is pretty neat. Again, because of how basic it is. Unfortunately, PUBG, like, I mean, as much as people love it, you don't have that sort of vibe with it. You don't have those theory things, Not once have I heard somebody say, everybody's over here battling on this island because we're all prisoners and we're trying to escape the triangle or some shit like that,
Hey, you don't speak Russian. You don't know that's what they're saying when they're yelling at you across the map. For shame. Limiting their creativity in the battlefield.
Yeah,
I've always thought that I've always thought Fortnite's simplicity was one of its strongest assets, because that does give it a leg up in that kind of way, and it's probably a bigger reason as to why Epic can just update things and keep things fresh so often. People can say what they want about the art style. It's not going to be for everybody. I mean, that's for sure, but it has its benefits.
Yeah, I mean the art style of Fortnite, it really doesn't turn me off. Look at Overwatch. Overwatch just like crushes the competition of anything that goes against it, and people get hyped over everything they have. And I'll be honest, I think that their little short animes that they have going on, I think they can give Pixar a run for their fucking money.
That's the thing about Blizzard. They use Blur Studios, which is probably like one of my favorite VFX studios. Like they do a little bit of out of house, but Blizzard Cinematics, man, if they made a Warcraft movie with Blizzard Cinematics, like that shit would have been more hype than like Infinity War to me, because that stuff's just amazing. Like literally, go back, look at that stuff on YouTube. Like some of that is just.
Oh yeah, I would have seen the Warcraft movie in theaters if it was like that versus what they gave us. That was just. Warfingers, you were on Fortnite the other day. What were you doing on Fortnite, buddy?
I don't know. What
caught red-handed. What were you doing on Fortnite, man?
Messing around. I don't even remember who else playing with me.
Everyone knows that this is a Minecraft Hunger Games household. The original battleground.
You got to approach this. What was you doing, sir? Huh? What was you doing? What was you thinking?
PUBG from time to time.
Right on. So we got one last subject that we'll kind of touch on and everything.
Well, real quick,
I'm not sure.
I wanted to get y'all's opinion. What do y'all think about how this whole thing between Fortnite and PUBG ended? with PUBG just pulling out of the whole court case.
Well, I mean,
I think it was the smartest thing to do. They weren't going to win it. They weren't.
Well, no,
Like,
no, definitely not. But a lot of
their
people
argument,
actually thought they were.
because people have opinions, and those opinions are dumb.
That was kind of like the more mind-boggling thing was like how they thought that they were going to win. Now, granted, I got what the initial argument of it was, you know, okay, well they helped us make it, and then they took it and they ran with it and everything. But whenever you look at the, you know, between the two and everything, it's hard to deny the fact that Fortnite has more polish and everything. You know, one of the things I continue to point out, a lot of people say, oh, well, it's because, you know, this, that, and the third, or they stole the things and so they were able to refine it. Like, no, they developed the engine. No. They know how to run their fucking engine. They make the engine. No, they know how to do it flawlessly. So I'm not surprised that PUBG ended up having to back out of this. I just don't think that they had enough to run with the fact that they said that, hey, so and so is doing this, because
it's another smoke screen.
It was going to open up a can of worms. I mean, sorry, we know that PUBG, you're from H1Z1, you're from DayZ, so yeah.
You remember when you had to fight zombies in these games, and then you just kind of started running into people, and then that became the emergent gameplay, because like all the battle royales are just the human element of the DayZ H1Z1s, whereas like, oh no, I have to run zombies, but oh no, people are assholes, and it's just like, what if we just take out the zombies?
Well,
wait,
I mean,
just people can be assholes, yeah.
In the whole aspect, I mean. DayZ and H1Z1, I mean, that was State of Decay before State of Decay 2 came out and did what it was doing, and that was with PvP. And exactly what you're saying is like, the concern really wasn't the zombies. You were trying to avoid the zombies because they gave you away for the assholes. And then the assholes sneak up on you and they take your loot, you know? Like, I mean, some of the shit that I saw that was going on in DayZ was amazing. And actually, that has a lot to do with why I'm excited for Vigor. I don't know if I hope it has nothing to do with zombies. Because I'd rather, if people are just going to be out there being assholes doing it, let's do it without the zombies, and I'll be that asshole. You know?
Are we ever back around to like mindless killing robots? I know we always have like a monster of the masses,
the tropes,
kind of going after
the tropes. Yeah,
so it was like, you know, zombies, and then it was like terrifying creatures of the night, then supernatural things like Slender Man, and before that was like robots, like Terminator, and then we kind of came back to zombies. So are we going to go back to robots? Because I mean, that's kind of like
you got a little bit of it all in Warframe.
Yeah. No one cares about your space ninjas.
I'm kidding.
Warframe, I like it.
Don't kill them. I think about that all the time too. Like, I mean, I do have to look at Microsoft, and I'm like, what is you doing, man? Like, why do we have so many zombie-esque games coming from you? Why do we have, you know, what is it from Capcom? What's that game? Dead Rising. And why do we have State of Decay? And you had that Stumps game back in the day. And I mean, the Flood were kind of zombie-esque. I mean, I think that was a little bit different, but still the same. Just zombies on top of zombies on top of zombies. Stop it. We don't need that many zombies. I like variety
for years.
But I mean, at that point, what else do you kill?
Nazi.
Like, I mean,
dinosaurs.
I mean, we always had
dinosaurs. Yeah, I'll take another Turok. Yeah, I mean, we could always do Nazis, but like, I'll leave that to Wolfenstein. I don't know. I just feel like that if you're not doing zombies, the AI that you're gonna have is just mindless, anyways. It's not a lot of games that you have to have really good AI, you know, in that manner of speaking.
Yeah.
But you know, so the last thing that we were kind of touch on was I'm not sure if anybody else has been keeping up with the Joneses of what everybody's saying on the rumors, but Kotaku was actually talking the other day. They made an article about it, about the rumored Google Yeti, which is essentially supposed to be Google's rumored console coming into the scene. And it kind of got me thinking about actually a lot of things, not just Google in general. Is this something that is going to be able to take off? What is it going to take for it to be able to take off if it does step in the scene? Is this going to be good? Is it going to be bad? What is everybody's thoughts on if Google is going to be coming out with a Yeti? Has anybody seen anything about it yet? About what the rumors are saying?
Are they going to call it Sasquatch in the United States and Yeti in Europe and like regionally? Is that how we're doing this?
It's probably going to be something stupid.
Or is it going to be like how Scorpio was the Xbox One X, and like they're going to call it like the Google?
It's probably going to be probably like I don't know, a step up from Pixel, because Pixel's their phone.
They'll release if they make it, they'll release a better version.
It's going to be called
the Skunk Cape.
It's going to be called the Chrome box. Let's be honest. They got the Chrome browser, they got the Chromecast, and this going to be the Chrome box.
They could call it the Goog. Or El Goog.
The Goog. I don't think that's going to fly very well.
El Goog. Oh, no, I like that. I like that most.
All right. I would buy an El Goog. I shit you not. I would wear El Goog.
I would buy an El Goog.
Oh no! Are we gonna get a Microsoft Xbox? Because I remember the exact conversations I had with your Microsoft speaking a console. That's stupid. That's never gonna happen. PlayStation, N64, and fucking Sega Dreamcast are gonna crush it.
At the time, yeah. But
So,
I mean, the Xbox came out at the right time.
Yeah. I mean,
so what would Google have to do in order to be successful with this?
Google Fiber to every house that buys one.
Free Google Fiber.
The curb, man.
I mean, that's going to sell it immediately.
Yeah, I would buy one just came with the free fiber to the curb.
Probably, yeah. Throw all their services into one on it. Make it a hub like how Microsoft's kind of doing with the Xboxes. You would have to get like a shit ton of exclusives or super emulator ability. Maybe like an equal opportunity like the crossplay type concept. Make like you want to make an Ouya in the terms of like you want it open available, but you wanted to make it not suck like the
Ouya was.
Yeah.
The Ouya, man, that was such a freaky concept.
I mean, it was just an emulator that you had a console for, and it's just like they only had like one or two like legitimate developer games on there, and then just like the 400 games in one console thing you'd pick up at like a thrift market.
Right, where you have like the knockoff Gears of War.
You didn't even have that. You had like
it's Soldier of Battle,
which is like a Pac-Man, but he's a square instead of a circle, and it's like, oh no, he has to flee from the clan because that's Ghost, right? Yeah, okay. Actually, now I kind of racist Pac-Man. Okay, cool. Throw that into the game jam. Yeah, no, it's like it just really kind of depends on what, like with everything, what they want to do with it and how they really kind of market it out. In regards to, is it going to live in the biosphere, which is the current competitive console market / computer market, for longer than a year?
So, what do you think, Zero? What do they have to do to be successful in this?
Honestly, I haven't a clue. My only real question is would be, because I might be the only one who really I play mobile a lot, actually, because I'm always out and about doing stuff, and like Diz knows, I have meetings and stuff. Like I go out of town a lot, so mobile's it's not my main thing, but I do it a lot. And I would just be curious to know if I could access those games that I play mainly on my phone on said system, because if so, that would actually be kind of cool for me.
Is that a Google phone?
I'd be okay with that. Yeah.
Then maybe, more likely, because like I think that's a big push that they're doing is the whole like the big thing for Fallout 76 was like, oh yeah, you could play it at home or you could play it here, or like the new Pokemon Go is like, oh, you want to play this while you're walking to school, you can play Pokemon Go, and then you get home, you slam your Switch in, and now you're playing it on your big screen, and it's just like everything's connected. Reality is a lie. Buy gold.
So yeah, no, like if I don't know if it worked that way, that'd be kind of neat for me. I mean, I would need some more to sell it for me personally, but I would be okay with that idea because that means I could play my stuff like my Dokkan Battle, which is a Dragon Ball game, and I've played that for years now. And they just came out with Dragon Ball Legends, and I like that a lot too. And then there's the Yu-Gi-Oh game I play all the time. I don't know. I feel like they would have an uphill battle, but it's not anything insurmountable. I don't think.
Do you think Google's the best suited company to launch a box, launch a new console?
They
I would
have
think
their
so,
fingers
yeah.
in a lot of pies. If anyone else was going to do it, it would be either Google or maybe Amazon.
Right.
Right.
And of course, the Amazon had been rumored for years, and they bought that studio. It was a Twisted Pixel. Nothing's ever come of it. I think that probably their best acquisition so far has been Twitch. They've been making some kind of janky moves towards their purchases. Like now you can't buy remastered games on Prime discount anymore, which is kind of odd. But I know that they are also having a lot of issues with Sony and keeping their games, available to them and everything. That was kind of like going in and out kind of deal. I don't know. Whenever I kind of looked at it, I think that I'm trying to compare it a little bit more towards some of the other competitors that had brought something out, like the NVIDIA Shield. Or like a Steam box and everything. And here's where I think that these companies really fucked up, and screwed up and everything. Yeah, they're doing the whole stream thing, which, right now I think that infrastructure wise, it's not going to happen. Not anytime soon. We're years, maybe decades, till we see something like that. Just based on the infrastructure that we have in the U.S. and everything, as far as our internet it's such a large country and everything, that trying to lay all that out, it's going to take a lot of time. That aside, I think that where they're really fucking up, like the NVIDIA Shield, is who they're marketing it to. Because I'm sorry, you're not going to convince a PC gamer to buy a Shield as an alternative way to playing these games on the PC. You're just not going to do it. The same with the Steam box. They marketed it to the wrong individuals. They were supposed to market that. They needed to market it to a console gamer, people who buy consoles. And that's, I think, where they dropped the biggest ball, is you marketed it to the wrong person. So I think that the very first thing that Google would need to realize is they need to if they're going to make a console, they need to know you need to market this to the console gamer. You can't market this to the PC crowd, because they're not going to buy it. You're not going to convince a PC gamer to come and buy a console. They'll buy it when their friends are buying those consoles. That's the only time you're going to have these PC guys come over. And a lot of PC guys will tell you the same thing. And so I think that that's going to be the first thing. I think that one of the things that they should probably do is try to pioneer that first diskless drive. Why not just throw in a larger hard drive into the system, so that you're not sitting around here with 1 terabyte like these damn consoles are, but put in there. It sounds absurd, but throw 10 terabytes in there. Don't make it a full on stream. Make it streaming capable. But we already know that like PS Now is trash. So I mean that should be your telltale sign and everything. But I mean, then again,
pretty well.
Yeah, but Game Pass doesn't use the streaming.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, you stream down the game, download it, play it, then get rid of it, and you just move on. The game as a service thing. I think
exactly.
I think infrastructure would have to change before we can kind of do that for everybody. Because I love having Google Fiber pledged for Google. I want an El Goog, damn it, or Lagoog whenever they come out. But for a lot of people, because it was remember when Xbox One first came out, the always on constant is just I had shitty internet again. Then that would kill me nowadays if I still lived out there, because it's just can't do it.
When we look back at I do have to ask, it's kind of a little bit off subject, but since you brought it up with you said the always on, et cetera, has a lot of those policies that were announced at that 2013, how many of those policies that are actually in place based on the games that are out now? How many games don't need connection with the internet in order to run? Because I feel like
I mean, things
I
were
feel like
always things were always going to go that way.
yeah.
It's just we needed
So
the infrastructure to be updated with it, which for a large, I think, portion of America, it kind of did. But at the same time, yeah, I think the landscape has definitely changed a lot more from both a consumer standpoint, the tech standpoint.
do you think that a lot of gamers realize that a lot of the things that they said that they were going to enact have already been enacted on pretty much all these consoles, and not mainly because of the consoles, but because of the way that the developers choose to run their game? Like, I mean, let's be honest, with when it comes to Ubisoft, most of their games you have to be connected to the Ubisoft servers in order to connect to the game.
Yeah.
I don't think your average gamer is aware of all this. The hardcore, most likely.
They probably tailor their taste specifically to that if they care or not.
Right. So, in the end, so Google, so we do agree they need to have, okay, so we'll say, what was the one that you said, Duke? What is it they need to have? Proper streaming?
Oh, like I would say like a hybrid Game Pass system where it's like, oh, I want this game. I download it. It saves on my hard drive. I play it till it's done, then you get rid of it.
Okay, so yours is like pretty much the versatile gaming, and then yours Zero.
For me personally, I would just like access to the Google Play Store and the games and whatnot you have on there.
So pretty much the same. What about you, Warfingers? What would convince you enough to go buy a Lagoog in 2019?
Elgoog. God damn it.
Sounds like that we may have lost Warfingers. And then, of course,
it's that damn crap. I'm telling you. The mess.
And of course, my thing is they just need to market it to the right audience. You know, that's been my biggest thing so far. So
Google, if you want to take this as a consultation, we'll bill you for just 30 minutes, like a lawyer, and write this the Duke of Deception.
Right on. So do we think that does Google fit in? Do we have room for four consoles for four consoles?
Hey, I remember the age of Jaguar and 3 different types of Sega, freaking like the Sega 3D and the Sega, the Sega 22X or something like that. We had a lot of consoles at one time, and then we just kind of boil it down, survivorship bias. I think the market could always use more competition. It's just, what is that competition bringing to the table?
Right.
Okay.
What did you say?
I said, what the competition is bringing to the table.
Uh-oh.
Damn.
Casting right now. Can I call you back? Okay.
Oh, he's on the phone.
I know.
He wasn't even talking to us. That's terrible.
God damn it.
Oh, you guys can hear me now. All right. Sweet. No, I don't know what happened.
I've been yelling explicitives at you this entire time.
My I don't know. I had to unplug my mic and plug it back in, and I don't know. Yeah, sorry. But did you guys hear anything I said about the Google stuff?
No.
Oh wow.
No, we didn't.
Duke of Deception, super right. That's all I.
No, I was just saying that. Yeah, I would definitely buy a Google console just to check it out. I've always been a Google fan. A fan of a lot of Google products. I use it in my everyday life. So,
do you think YouTube would delist people who had negative feedback on Lagoog? Like, I put up a video of like, man, I hate the Elgoog, man. Look at all the dumb stuff it does, and I'm just like, wait, why does my video keep
copyright strikes and everything? YouTube is just gone to shit because people are hating on the Elgoog.
Well, I was reading this article, and then Google picked up Phil Harrison, right? And he had worked with PlayStation and Xbox, so I think that maybe they are going to head in that direction.
That would be great if they did pick up the Sony VP dude from those old commercials. See, they just need good commercials. I remember great commercials basically make the American consumer. The fact that you buy a diamond ring that's worth 2 months' pay for your girl when you get married, that's because the beer sold that crap in the 20s. Like, there's so much stuff that is like, if we could go look like 40 years in the future, it's like, yep, got to buy me a Google Brain plug because that's what you do.
Google Brain plug, yes. That's so awesome.
They turn 16, brain plug, bam, there we go. Gotta get that ad blocker on there too, otherwise it gets that weird alien space porn, and
so
it's not good.
Aside from Google, who else do you think has enough that they might be able to step in the ring and duke it out with everybody? A console to make their own gaming platform.
Again, it's either Amazon or Microsoft, or not Microsoft. Yeah, Microsoft should make a console. That'd be great. Call it the window box or something. Oh, the window sill. Yeah, we can call it them sills. God damn it. Anyways, yeah, Amazon, Google. It'd have to be a major parts manufacturer, something who makes a lot of electronics.
Right. I think other than Google, it's just Amazon. I mean, I can't think of anybody else.
Samsung, maybe. But that's the peripherals.
Yeah.
But how much of it would be theirs? Because you know that they've lost a lot of court battles because of patent infringements to Apple.
Yeah, I don't think Apple's got video games. I'm pretty sure people with Macs tell me sometimes.
Yeah, they definitely don't have video games. But would they? I mean, would they be able to originally design something in that kind of aspect?
Well, I mean, that's why you buy developers and publishers. You just need one guy to facilitate the console.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that was kind of like what we as Falling is that they didn't have anyone who was actually making real games. They just made the hardware.
And I mean, secondly, is this console going to be installed on my Samsung washer whenever I have to be in there doing laundry?
You got to get all the Google products. You got to get you a Google fridge, Google oven, Google slippers, Google bed. So you can Google yourself when you're sleeping. Just Google it.
I think Google it. Actually, think about it. That's actually not a bad idea. In the concept of what you're saying there, Duke, is, imagine if you do have the Chromebox, and then, now because Google is making they have the Pixel, so they pretty much have their own little subcategory that they can say, okay, well, if you're playing on the console, now you can have that stream, let's say, to the Pixel, or maybe even download to the Pixel.
Android is owned by Google. So
well, yes,
device really, except for a freaking Crapple.
Well, it's like I have a friend that has all Sony products, like Sony TV, Sony soundbar, Sony PlayStation, and just a lot of stuff, and it's just really seamless. Like she uses one remote to change the soundbar, TV, all this stuff. It just works together. Like if you want to have a whole system that's just built off that concept, it's there. It's just again, like if you make the Google, like how Microsoft was trying to push at that one point where the Xbox was your all-in-one entertainment system. Hell, if anyone could do it, I think Google can.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure. I remember that, they wanted to do that illumination and everything, and then, of course, with the Kinect, and just none of it ever panned out and everything. But
I'm still telling you, man, there's nothing more convenient than tell my Xbox to, volume up or turn itself off, and I just, pass out in a pile
until you can't do it no more without a headset.
Yeah, it's all there. Yeah.
Yeah, does the saying Cortana into your headset do anything anymore now?
Yes.
Does it still do? Okay. I wasn't sure because I feel like that they kind of stepped away from the whole Cortana aspect. I felt like it was.
I don't know if they've done anything more with it.
I'm pretty sure they got small stuff that they just kind of keep on download, like how Alexa can play Skyrim now. Hell, my Google Assistant talks about the other AIs.
Oh, so they shit talk each other. So that's what we're gonna have. We're gonna have talking consoles talking shit about other consoles.
If you guys can hear that,
that's not a bad idea. If my Lagoog
kind of awesome.
Start talking shit to everybody else, I think that I would buy one and be like, I'm sorry, I'm Lagooged.
Hey Google, have you?
I'm a Lagoog bot. I don't know what else you want me to tell you.
You already got your brain plug.
Right, get the brain plug coming in soon. All right, folks. So before we wrap up, does anybody have any last words? Any other subjects that we need to bring to the table, bring to light?
I'm gonna get my check.
You ready for your check?
Yeah, I just want a $1 box full of goog.
My money check. We did.
Well, folks, so we're going to kind of wrap it up here and everything. I'll allow everybody to do their outros. So, Warfingers, where can the fine folks of YouTube find you at?
Oh man, you can find me at war underscore fingers at twitter.fuckingnet.org.google me. You know?
So let me roll that back. Is that W underscore at warfingers at fucking Google.net?
Yeah. Just
capital F or a lowercase?
Is this you speaking or is this the plug speaking?
it's the plug. It's Mel. I'm so sorry. No, but you can find me at war underscore fingers. Yeah.
On the Twitter.
There you go.
On the Twitter feed, yeah, for sure.
Duke, where are we gonna find you are we gonna find you? Are you gonna be locked up or are we gonna find you in an obituary?
So what you got to do is you got to
due to
go
this
down
crap.
the main street. You're gonna see a stop sign. Take a left. You're gonna keep going until you see that gas station that you never stop at because it's real shady. Go around the back. There's a dumpster. Get inside the dumpster. There'll be a cell phone and a baggie. Call me.
You know how I know that this isn't real is because you didn't use any food establishments as a point of interest.
Because I can't let you know the exact dumpster. If you're a true fan, you know where it is.
Gee.
And Lord
Jesus
Zero.
Christ. You can find me on Twitter at Lord Zero or on Xbox Live at Lord Zero. I'm everywhere, just Lord Zero.
He's not in the
Pretty
dumpster.
simple.
He's not in the dumpster.
I could
Absolutely.
be in the dumpster.
He could be. That is true. He does play Monster Hunter.
Say what?
Nothing. Anyways, you can find me at iDizzy81 on Twitter. Of course, be sure to follow us at PBG_podcast on Twitter as well to see whenever we are going live. Of course, we'll be sharing this out. We're trying to be live every Tuesday. Of course, we'll let you know if we're not going to be there. There's going to be a couple of things that possibly might be changing. So right now, Tuesdays are air dates. So if anything changes, of course, we're going to let everybody know. And of course, we're working with some other things to bring to you all, more to kind of talk about in the future. I believe that Mr. Lord Zero was actually suggesting something the other day. So as soon as more things pop up about that, we're definitely going to make sure that everybody knows. But we do thank you all very much for tuning in to the end. We thank y'all, and we're out.
Happy 4th.
Word.
Bye.
Is it weird that